Welcome back. Welcome back. Our next project this week, we're going to be creating multiple compositions, and we're going to be nesting one composition within another. So, this assignment is basically dealing with nesting compositions and also using layer blending modes, which can produce some really nice effects visually. So here in this assignment, you're going to create a composition employing layer blending modes and nested compositions. And within that, you want to try to convey a specific mood or a theme, maybe. You're also going to be adding text in there as well and moving text around. So that's kind of fun. So, anyway, to get started here, let's set up our file. So, we're going to click on New Project here, and we're going to go New Composition. And for our presets here, it's going to be 800 by 620 pixels. So, I'm going to change this to 800. Down here to 620. All right, and our frame rate for this one is going to be 30, so we're going to leave it alone. And duration-wise, we're going to be about 5 seconds. So I'm already set up here to 5, so that's good. All right, I think we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and click OK. And we should be all set here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use two images in this assignment. So the first thing you want to do is bring your images in. Okay, so we're going to go File, Import, File. And let's see, mine are on the desktop here, so just know where your images are. And there we go. So I'm going to see if I can grab both of them. Hold down Shift and click on the second one. Click Import, and notice they both came in there. And so let's go ahead and bring these down here onto the canvas. Okay, so we've got two images there. We've got a schematic for an amplifier. Then we've got a nice house. So the question is, how can I make these blend together and make something interesting? And so that's what we're going to explore in this project. Okay, so we have our photos. Again, we have our house here and our electronic schematic. So what I want to do, first of all, is resize these real quick. So let's go into the wall first. And let's scale that up so it reaches the tops and the bottoms there. So I can unclick the chain here, and then I can just change one dimension or the other. Okay, so I'm just doing the height. That looks good right there. And let's go into the schematic and look at that. And that looks fine. That's just covering the whole screen. Okay, so looking at these, the next thing you might want to do is start playing with blending modes. For example, on this one here, this one's on the top layer and the schematic's on the bottom. To get to the blending modes, you might want to go down to the bottom of your timeline here and select the toggle switches and modes. And once you get to modes here, it'll say mode just above the layers, and there's a little window that says normal here. Change one of those. Just try any of them. Let's try Stencil Luma. And look what happens. It starts to blend the layers together, which I think is really cool that way. Okay, and just play around with some of these and see what you like. Okay. Exclusion's kind of neat. Kind of has a haunting effect. I like the colors, though. And just play around with them until you see something you really like. I really like that, too. That's kind of neat. Difference, okay. Overlay, you can see it kind of changes the color a little bit on one of them. That's kind of interesting. Subtle. Hard light, that's kind of cool, too. Okay, oh, the other thing I wanted to show you, too, is that you can also, let's go back to normal here. You can also reverse these too. You might find you like the effect better. Let's put the Marshall schematic on the top here. And you'll see there you'll have some slightly different effects going on here. Let's try difference again. Looks very similar to the other one, huh, with difference, but maybe with some of these up here we might see a difference here. Not much, huh? Okay, so those are pretty much how we saw them before. Okay. Ooh, I like that. Let's go with that. Okay, so I just reversed the layers, and then what you want to do is you want to put the blending mode on the top layer of the two. And let's do some transformations with this thing too. Let's start with the schematic here. Let's do some transformation. I want to do some rotations for one. So I'm going to make sure to start doing my transformations, make sure your playhead or your scrub keys at the beginning. And click the stopwatch just to the left of the word. So rotation here is what we're doing. And I'm going to have this thing from here to here stay exactly as it is. So I'm going to copy this keyframe. And here's how you do it. You just make sure the keyframe right here in your timeline is selected. Choose Control C. And then when you hit Control V, it'll paste it wherever your playhead is. So from here to here, it's going to stay in the same position because I copied this first keyframe. And in fact, we could do that at the very end too. So Control C and then hit End on your keyboard, Control V. And notice there the keyframe is over here at the end. So we're basically going to end up where we started here if we keep that in mind, that keyframe. All right, so now from here to, let's say here, we'll have it rotate 90 degrees or so, something like that. So let me grab my rotation here. And this will rotate, oh, let's see, about there. Yeah, exactly at 90 there. And then from here, let's copy that keyframe, Control C. Let's see what happened here. Something's going on weird. Oh, it's going back to this keyframe. Yeah, in the end. So I probably should have waited on that. But no problem. I can take that keyframe and copy it. So let's copy this keyframe, Control C, Control V. So now, when you get to this position, it won't rotate at all. And then from here to here, we're going to go another 90 degrees. So we're going to go this way. So it should be 180. So let me click 180 right here. You can just punch it right in there. Exactly. There we go. 180 degrees. And then let's have it just rotate like that. That's actually kind of cool. Let's go back to 90 right here. And then from there, we'll have it go back to the beginning. All right? So if you push play now, you can see this thing is going to rotate and it's going to stop. Let's go home. Okay, and then it stops, then it goes, and then it goes back. Yeah, I like that. And also we can do maybe some zooming or scaling. So let's do scale. So let's click on the scale. Okay, now we're doing some scaling. So from here to here, we'll have it scale up a little bit. Maybe right there. And it's going to rotate. And we'll have Control C, Control V. We'll leave it there. But from here to here, we'll have it scale back down to I don't know, let's have it scale down to 100 again. And then as it rotates here, we'll have it stay the same. Control C, Control V to paste that keyframe, this last one. Okay, and then as it rotates this way, we'll have it scale up again. And then what we'll do now is we'll take this initial keyframe, copy it, Control C. We'll go to the end, Control V. Now we'll be right back where we started. So we're doing those smooth loops there. Okay, so we've got some zoom and some rotation. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so Comp 1 has these two layers, and we've created some nice transformations there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to go into creating a new composition here. So we have Comp 1 down here on the timeline, but I can create a new composition anytime. I can go up to Composition on the top, choose New Composition, or Control N for your shortcut. And let's just make sure that everything's the same. 800 by 620, that's good. 30 frames a second, that's good. And 5 seconds, so we're good there. So click OK. And so we have, if you look down on the timeline here in the lower left, we have Comp 1 that has our two layers, and Comp 2, which has nothing yet. So I'm going to go into Comp 1 here, click on my first layer, hold the Shift button down, click on the second, choose Control C or Edit Copy. Okay, and then I'm going to go in, click on the Comp 2 folder and paste them in there. So Edit, Paste, or Control V. Okay, so now in this composition, I'm going to try a different layer blending mode up here. Okay, so we did color burn here, so let's try another one. Okay, and we tried a few before. I think I did like difference, or let's try that classic difference. Okay, so that's kind of a neat effect too. Okay. And we could even play with some more transformation controls here if we want. So again, with the wall or with the schematic, we could go in maybe and play with opacity, right? So again, make sure your scrub keys at 0. Again, opacity is at 100. I'll have it stay at 100 till about there maybe. So click, make sure that first keyframe selected, Control C to copy it, Control V to paste it. Let's see, it didn't work. Control C, Control V, there we go. And then from here to here, maybe it's going to, the opacity, it's going to kind of fade out a little bit. And then from here, let's see, Control C to copy that keyframe to about here. Control V. And then from there to here, we'll go back to about 100%. Okay, something like that. So now we have also an opacity change that'll make things a little different that way too. Okay, so now we have two compositions. Essentially, we have Comp 1, which we applied the color burn layer blending mode, and we have Comp 2, in which we applied classic difference. Okay. Now also what we can do in Comp 2 is change some of the animation attributes, which I basically did just now. We can also maybe have, well, let's see here. We could also have let's have the other, the wall layer, let's have that maybe scale in and out, or let's do a position change maybe on that. So transform, again, position. And when this just gets about here, then this thing, well, let's do 100% up to that point, or yeah, let's keep it at 100% up to that point. So Control C to copy that first keyframe, move your scrub key over where you want it, Control V, and then from here to here, we'll have this thing move around a little bit. Okay. And then from here to here, we'll have it go, yeah, this way, and then up. Then this, now we'll have it go over, and then finally, we'll have it go back to the original position at the end. So let me click this first keyframe, Control C to copy it, hit end or go to the end of your timeline, Control V to paste it, and it'll jump right back into place. Okay, so we did change a couple of animation attributes here. You can see how things are moving around. Okay, and that's good. So we made some changes there. Okay. Okay, so we have our two comps. We have comp 1 and comp 2, of course, and they each of them have their own attributes in some ways, and they have some of the same too. Okay, so now what we're going to do is create a third composition. Okay, so I'm going to go up to composition, new composition again, and this will be comp 3. Just check your settings, make sure they're all the same. Yep, they are there. So in comp 3 now, what we're going to do is we're going to grab comp 1 from up here in the project window and comp 2. So I'm going to hold down shift and we're going to drop these down into comp 3. And notice there they come in only as single tracks. So comp 2 is considered like almost one track here. Here, let me turn the lights on there. So comp 2 is one track. Notice there it comes in one track, and then comp 1 here is also only on one track. So it makes it a lot easier that way. So now that we have these two tracks here, we're going to try another blending mode. And again, remember, blending mode you do on the top layer of the two. And if you can't find, remember, if you can't find the blending modes, you have to just click the toggle switches and modes button. And when you see this mode here, we'll go from normal to, that's a different kind of look there. That's kind of neat. Okay, so, and try a different blending mode maybe to see what you get. You'll be surprised at some of the cool effects that you're going to get. Okay, that's vivid light. Let's try overlay. Overlay sometimes is interesting. That looks really cool. I like that. Okay, so once you find your blending mode that you like, then you can stick with it. That one looks really good. Let's try color burn. It's a little too dark there, but I do like it. Okay, so it just depends on what look you're kind of going for, and that'll determine the look that you're going for there. So that's kind of interesting too. Kind of like that. Okay, so play around again with these blending modes because they do some really cool stuff. Have some really nice effects. Man, I like all of these. Let's try difference again. We already did that, but I just want to see what it looks like again on here. Oh wow, that's interesting. Okay, so I really like color difference. I think I'm going to keep that one mainly because I think it'll work with the text. Well, I could try a different one. Let's try subtract. It's cool, but it's pretty dark. Saturation might be good. Yeah, it's alright. Let's try luminosity. I like that. The only thing is you can't see some of the other transformations as well that I made. So that's the only thing I don't like about luminosity. Here's stencil luma. Wow, that's pretty interesting. I do like that. Let's try one more stencil. Not alpha. I guess those are the only two we have. Oh, silhouette luma. And that's kind of interesting too. Wow, it's a tough choice, huh? There's a lot of good ones here. So I think I liked overlay though. That was kind of interesting. So let's just go with that. We'll go with overlay. And so we're done nesting our compositions. We basically created 3 compositions and we nested layers within composition. Then we nested compositions within compositions. So that's kind of interesting. And so the last part of this is I want to add some text into this just to show you how text works. And so maybe I'm going to start with a text layer. So you go up, if you go up to layer, new, you can do a text layer right here. Where it's Control Alt Shift and T. Now on this text layer, I can just basically grab my text tool, go here right onto the canvas, and type a letter there. So there's my letter. I'm going to change that. Let's see. Let's do an H here. Okay, so I like that shape. So I'm going to maybe go with that. And let's go in and change the font size here. So we have we can scale it vertically if we want over here. I'm in the character area over here on the right. We can scale it horizontally or vertically. You can also change the font size. Okay. You can also change the horizontal of it right here. Okay, here's our font size right here. So maybe start with that size there. Okay, and then we can do another text layer. Let's do another one. Layer, new, text. And we'll just put a T on there, or an M, sorry, not a T, an M. And notice it comes in at the same settings. So we'll start with the same settings here. And you can move these around like any other object. Okay, so we have two text layers here now. We have an H and an M, each on their own layer. Now I can apply some effects to this as well. Let's say you can't find your effects panel. Let's say it's off here. No problem. You just go up to Window, and you can turn it on down in here if you don't see it. Okay, Effects and Presets. Here they are in the right-hand side of my screen. And you have several different effects that you can apply. Let's take a look at Stylize here. And there's some interesting effects in here. Let's try Mosaic. So you just grab, basically what you do is make sure you're on the correct layer. You have the correct layer selected. You grab an effect and you can just drop it right on the track. Okay. Now, if you notice there, the H kind of disappeared, but I can probably go in here and mess with the controls. So under Effects, I'll go to Mosaic and just start adjusting these and see what happens. Okay, horizontal blocks versus vertical. That's kind of interesting. I like that. Sharp colors, we can turn that on. Compositing options. We're not going to deal with that right now. Okay, effect opacity. Well, we can check that out, bring that down. So you can even change it like that if you wanted to. I kind of like that the way it is, though, so I'm going to leave that. And then let's stay with the H here for a second, and let's see if we can apply another effect. Now, I like to use Stylize or Perspective here. Perspective's kind of interesting. What is 3D glasses? Let's play with that. And that's not doing much for me here, but let's see if we can play with the controls. Let's see, left view. Oh, interesting. Right view. Nope, Control Z. We want to keep it an H, so we're not going to use that effect. I like Mosaic, but I don't want to use the other one. And again, we can mess with these. So you can really tweak this thing out to be something interesting. I don't want to do too much here. It's kind of interesting. Kind of like that. Okay, so let's add one more. Let's try beveling the edges and see what happens. Also, well, that's kind of interesting. Let's open that up and look at that. Let's see. So light color. Let's try a blue. Let's try that again. Let's go out here and just pick a color with our color picker tool. There we go. Well, that's kind of neat. So you can actually grab the color picker here and go out here and select a color that will work for it. It's kind of interesting. Okay, I like that blue. Let's go with that. And let's also do a maybe a drop shadow on there as well. Oops, let me close up these. There we go. Drop shadow. Drop that right on there as well. And under the drop shadow, let's see, we can do distance, which is what I was looking for. And that'll give us a little bit of stand out here a little bit too. I like that. Okay, so there's our H. And now I'm going to mess with the M, maybe do some similar things, maybe something different. Okay, so on M there, let's try, we'll stay with, let's try bevel alpha with the M. And let's see what we get. I'm sorry, bevel edges. Okay, again, similar effect here, but I want to use that again. Let's delete that one. So here's our bevel edges, and again, if you go in here and select the color select tool, then you can get a different color there. It's kind of interesting. Or you can go in here and change it as well. That'll darken it. Okay, so those are our letters that we'll work with here. And let's see if we can thicken up that edge. There we go. That looks cool. I like that. And let's see if we can do that with the other one with the H. Yeah, we can thicken up the edge. So that way we don't have so much white. Okay? And so there are our letters. And now what I want to do is give those some transformations too. So maybe what we'll do is we'll start with the M here. Let's bring the opacity down. Close the effects and we'll open transform. Make sure your scrub key's at 0. Or better yet, let's scale it down to 0. And we can have this thing scale up. So let's click the stopwatch. Maybe from here to here it'll be 0. So Control C, Control V. Then from here to here we'll have it come up. Maybe to about there. And from here to here, I'll have it scale down a little bit. From here to here, we'll have it scale up. And then, of course, we'll copy the first keyframe, Control C, hit End on our keyboard, Control V to paste it, and now we finish with at 0. So home key, space bar, and you'll see it scale up there, scale down, scale back up, and then scale back down. I like that. Okay, other things we can do, position changes. Let's do that. So home, to go back to the beginning, position there, have this thing come up right there. It comes back down. So while it's coming back down, maybe we'll have it move maybe down this way. So you can just grab your object and move it around. Or maybe this way. Yeah, that would be better. So it stands out. And then as it grows up, we'll have it come out to about right here. Then, of course, Control C and Control V. And it's gone. Okay? So this is what we have so far. All right. Looks good. All right, so let's do the same thing with the H. Let's see, the H. Why don't we do a position change, and we'll do a scale on this one. So let's close the effects. We'll open up transform, We're going to change the position to over here maybe. And we'll scale this thing down to 0. So about there. Or 11, that's fine. Okay, so from here to here maybe we'll scale it up to 100. This one will move a little faster. 99, close enough. We'll have it stay there for that long. Control C, Control V. So while that one, the M scaling down, we'll have this one scale up. Real big. And then from there, we'll just have it scale down. So let's just grab the first keyframe, Control C, hit End, Control V. Okay, and then we'll do some position changes again too. Okay, so H is going to start there. Let's do that. We've already got a position. Let's move it right away though. As that's the M's coming up, the H will be up here somewhere. Maybe right there. While the M's going down, the H will come up and maybe come down here a little bit. And then the M's coming back up and the H is going back down. So I like how it's scaling down. Then we'll just go from here, Control C to End, Control V. Okay? All right, so this is what we have. It's interesting how the H shakes. Okay, but you can see the text there. And that's, again, the battle between, H and M stands for the battle between the heart and the mind. So the mind is kind of like the figures, the schematic, logic, figuring out how things work. The heart appreciates the beauty of things once the logic has been applied to them, I guess. And that's kind of the theme I'm going for in this. Okay, so finally now you want to render your movie out. So you go up to Composition, Add to Render Queue. Okay, here we're going to use, looks like H.264 compressor. You can go to Format Options here. Performance here for video. Hardware encoding selected, that's fine. Okay. That's good there. And I think that's all you need to do. Click OK. All right, and then here we're going to output it to 5- your last name. And let's output it to my folder here that I save. So make sure you know where your project's going. And number 5. There we go. So click Save. And I think that's all you need to do. And then click the Render button. And you hear the noise and you know you're done. Okay? So we can go check that. And it should play in your media player and loop. And there it is.